Can you see the...
I can see perfectly.
All
you
right.
can't see it all.
Well, I'm going to trust your eyes over mine. There we go. I would get out of there because now we have no...
Okay, I just wanted to try to make sure the chat went on.
We're good.
Let's see if anybody hops on. Nobody's on yet, but sometimes it takes a minute.
Okay. To turn...
There we go. There's somebody. There's people. Hi, guys.
All right.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Renata.
Busy holiday weekend. Happy that we have people coming in to join us.
It's a beautiful day here. We're by the pool. It's gorgeous.
It's kind of crazy that, you know, you were just saying that family back east, it's raining.
It's like tropical
gloomy,
storms all weekend for them.
All right. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Can you guys hear us okay? Freezing in Jersey.
Oh, no, sorry, yuck. It's winter there, yuck.
All right, everybody can hear us. Good.
Okay, go ahead.
Why don't you go ahead and start things off?
I don't know if you guys can see, but he's trying to escape. So, what was it, Tuesday? Monday? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Adam was asked to participate in an event for criminal justice reform, and we thought it would be just fun to give you guys the background. And oh, look, there's your mom.
Oh, that's nice.
64 degrees isn't bad.
Oh
in
my
Wisconsin.
Goodness, 64 degrees. That's crazy. What are you doing in Wisconsin? You should be here. Who's that?
Oh God, the fart guy.
All right. Well, what happened was. I've been reaching out to a number of members of Congress who had expressed a willingness to support continuing 924C reform. And for all of you tuning in that have been with us through this journey, you know that's obviously that's something that we've been focused on for many, many years. You know, going all the way back to like 2008 was the first time that they just started talking about finally reforming this crazy law that led to me having 213 years, the stacked mandatory minimum sentences. So, you know, it's been a big part of, personally for me, it's something that I feel, you know, largely responsible to make sure that I'm utilizing this opportunity to be able to advocate for all the others, you know, who are still stuck under these crazy sentences, to make sure that they get the same opportunity at relief that I got. Now, I was granted compassionate release, which is a separate vehicle, but the 924C reform that was included in the 2018 bill weighed very heavily on my judge's decision. But since that law was not made retroactive, meaning all of us who were sentenced before 2018 were not eligible for relief under that amendment. Now there's members of Congress, specifically the Senate, has taken up a bill where they're seriously considering finally fixing that, making that fully retroactive. And on Tuesday, I got an opportunity to address members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, all of their staffers. There were 60 plus staffers on there who logged on to hear myself and others speak about the need for this specific reform to make sure that it's made retroactive. Man, for me, it's like almost like overwhelming to finally be in a position where I have a voice, right? Like to finally be heard. To spend 20 years on the inside, to reach out repeatedly to so many organizations, to so many law firms and law schools, and really like just the challenges in being heard and connecting with people. I was very fortunate, you know, to build some relationships, to have some strong advocates, but never to be on a platform like this. So incredible opportunity. Just feeling really, really grateful to have been able to do that. And here's the great part. That this was on Tuesday. By Thursday, this is the day that it was supposed to go to the committee for a markup to make sure that it gets included. Obviously, things went very well on Tuesday. It gained a lot of momentum from Tuesday to Thursday, so much so that now this was for the Senate. Now the House is suddenly reinvigorated. They're all on board for. Yeah, they're excited about. They're like, well, we have a 924C amendment that we want to include in our bill as well.
Is that a good sign? That's a good sign, right?
That's a great sign.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's a great sign. So that's really what it's all about. It's about, continuing to make sure that people just get the opportunities that they deserve. There's so many people trapped under these crazy sentences, life sentences, crazy stack sentences like the ones I had, that deserve an opportunity to get back in front of a judge. Let's take another look at these. None of those sentences should be final, right? That just doesn't even make sense. So it was a big week in that regard, big win there. That was something that I was excited to be able to share that with all of you, because I know many of you have been supporting us for a decade, right? For many years. And I want to make sure that you guys know that, you're a part of that win, that none of this would be possible without you, without your support. Just let you know how grateful we are. And there are times where it seems pretty surreal. As you can see, we're poolside right now, right? We're literally sitting at the pool under a palm tree. Are you kidding me? This is life now. And it's just, some days it's overwhelming.
We were just saying before this, where were we last year? Memorial Day weekend.
Oh.
This baby's trying to get out, you guys. He's killing me right now. But where we were last year at this point,
yeah,
and we had nothing. We had no relief. We had nothing in sight. We were just kind of in a holding pattern.
I mean, we had relief. We just didn't know
when or where.
Yeah, there was just so many things were still up in the air. It's just really, it's amazing how much has changed in the course of a year. So for any of you who, find yourselves, you're in that situation, you're waiting on your loved one to get some kind of relief, to get another opportunity, or just trying to get them home a little bit, ahead of schedule, prior to that date that they have that's in the computer. Hopefully this inspires you to know that there's still a lot of work being done, a lot of people on board. And we're definitely going to hold this administration accountable, right? They made a lot of promises. They've been a little slow to respond, but the advocacy organizations are pushing hard to get this done. And now it looks like you got members of Congress lining up to get on board. So it's reason to be optimistic. Now, having said all that, we're talking about criminal justice reform, and it happens to be Memorial Day weekend, right? So we don't want to lose sight of that this is a weekend. A lot of people look at it just as the weekend that kicks off the summer, right? Which it is that, especially for those of us that come from the Jersey Shore, right? Big
I feel bad
summer.
for everybody in Jersey right now, though.
For us, this was the first weekend to head down the shore. You do it's the kickoff of summer, right? And I guess for me, it's taken on a whole lot more significance over the years, having a number of friends who are, in the armed services, and the significance of what this means this weekend. For us, and especially, being members or advocates of CrossFit, CrossFit does these hero workouts to celebrate people who have sacrificed, first responders, specifically our military. And tomorrow is what?
Memorial Day.
Which means?
Murph.
And what is Murph?
Murph is a very special hero workout. It's a tribute to the fallen soldier who they made that movie with Marky Mark. I can't remember the other actors in there, but
The Lone Survivor
the Lone
movie.
Survivor. I always call it the Lone Soldier, and it's wrong.
Lone
it's the
Survivor.
Lone Survivor.
Yep, Lieutenant Michael Murphy.
Yep, and it was this man's favorite workout. So he does a mile run, 100 pull-ups,
100 pull-ups,
200 push-ups,
200 push-ups,
300 squats,
300 squats,
and then a mile run to finish.
and then run another mile.
Yeah. And he basically gave up his life to save everybody else in his, what do you call it, a platoon? No, in a small group. Squads, lives. So we do it all CrossFits throughout the nation, the world.
I would say it's probably worldwide. I mean, CrossFit is hugely supportive of this, and I would say CrossFits, even in other countries, right, are really supportive.
Yep.
Of what they do here. So
yep.
Yeah, I'd say people all over the world are doing it tomorrow.
Yep.
Or this weekend.
At some point this weekend. Usually it's on Memorial Day, but it's a big thing. It's so much fun, so we're going to do that. It's so much fun. It's a lot of work. It's a hard workout, and
it's a sacrifice.
The trainer at the gym said it the best today. He's like, those are one of those where you just, it's hard, and you just get through it, and you kind of do the sacrifice because of what they sacrificed for us. Hero workouts, you just leave everything you have on the gym floor. So, of course, I'm going to have people that are concerned. I'm doing a very modified version. I can't run a mile anymore. I probably won't run at all. I'll probably do it on the exercise bike just because my belly's a little heavy. But
you can do what you can do. Her and CJ are going to do their best and stay healthy and safe. Well, oops.
I can't even. Normally, I edit you out. Like,
can't edit me out now.
There's our little hint. I said a hint was coming soon. I was gonna do it when we do the nursery reveal.
Well, they got a surprise.
That's okay.
Events.
Now you guys can guess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it. Yep, we're gonna do it as best as we can. And it's not about being the best or the fastest or the strongest or anything like that. It's just about, they were saying at the gym today, remembering all the people.
Yeah.
And one thing that we used to do when Adam was inside, in a way that we kind of stayed, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. What's the word I'm looking for? Connected, was that Adam would do it and I would do it at the same time. Or we would do it at some point throughout the day. And then we would talk about that. And it wasn't just with this, but this was our big one that we worked towards throughout the year. But we would do that a lot. Like, I would send Adam the workouts that I did.
We did a lot. There was a period there, especially over the course of the last year, where we were pretty consistently exchanging workouts almost on a daily basis.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, that was, I talk about that all the time. I've talked about it here on videos, and I talk about it in the classes that I now facilitate. And what a big part, like you being my inspiration to do a lot of the things that, honestly, there's days, right, where we struggle to get up the motivation to do, to follow through on our commitments, especially health, fitness, nutrition, to do all the things that we know, are good for us, but aren't always easy. Sometimes it's a challenge. We all got challenges to work through, to overcome, and you got to have the right motivation, because when things get tough and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? You better have a good reason.
Yeah.
And for many, many years, you were that reason. And now I got two of you. So that reason has gotten bigger.
There's a really good TED Talk, the Simon Sinek one. What's it called?
Start with why.
Yeah, that's a great TED Talk.
And his other one is Leaders Eat Last. They're both phenomenal, but start with why.
That's the one that I was just thinking about because of
the military.
That and the why. You're talking about your why.
Sure.
And he talks about how to find your why and how to kind of reverse engineer. It's really good.
Yeah.
But we were saying, like, we would exchange workouts, and that was our thing. And I remember one time when did you run a marathon most recently that I ran around the lake? Like, I did 9 miles with you, remember? Was it not a marathon?
Which one?
It was the most recent one, so it had to be within the last, 2-3 years. And it was the most I ever ran because I was thinking about supporting you. I think I want to say it was a marathon, but you haven't run a marathon in a long
Yeah,
time.
it wasn't. The last one I did was the 30.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
For the 30?
Yeah.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, well, they all blend together, like you said.
Yeah, we've been doing this for too long.
But, okay, so my point is that was our thing, but there's things that you guys always ask, like how you can improve your relationship. There's things that a lot of people do, like they'll watch a show separately but together and then talk about it,
right?
or read a book separately.
And I think I was gonna say those are great things, like, but to not just do it for entertainment. I think what was most beneficial for us was that it was not just intentional to do these things together to bring us closer, but there was always like an element of learning. And I think both of us we're avid learners, so maybe that came a little bit easier for us, but it's like looking for like what's something that we can do to learn and to grow together.
Yeah. And I think a lot of couples, like Timothy's on here. I don't know if he goes by Tim or Timothy, but he's in a new relationship with a female on the inside. And a lot of people, when they're either in a new relationship, or you're finally, it's crazy as it sounds, but them being pulled away from you gives you time to slow down and nurture that part of your relationship that you might have neglected for so many years. A lot of people do journals, questions of the day, and then you can talk through them, answer them separately, and either send them to each other if you have JPEG, Core Links, or even post office. It would be slower.
Even the mail, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then discuss them on the phone or chapters of books, and it doesn't have to necessarily be, like you were saying, it could be learning books, but it could also be learning about each other and strengthening the relationship.
Who was it we just gave the recommendation recently? Love languages.
It was
Dave
on here,
Chapman.
right?
I think we gave it on here too.
Yeah.
But it was somebody else that was just talking. It was one of the guys in one of the clients coming through the program when I was facilitating a couple weeks ago. And he specifically said, he was like, man, he's like, how did you and your wife do it? He's like, we're kind of, going through it right now. We're struggling a little bit here and there. Like, how do you improve the communication? Like, how do you just get on the same page? And I was like, here's a great place to start. I'm like, check this book out. And he's like, man, he goes, she read it and she's been bugging me to read it. I'm like, well, you got to do your part, man. You know what I mean? Like, go read the book. Yeah. So it takes both of you.
And it's not easy, and it wasn't always easy. I mean, it still sometimes isn't easy. Like, I could tell a story. The other night I hid in the bathroom from you because I was having like a meltdown, and I didn't want you to see me cry. But those are the things that you have to work through together.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't hide in there too long.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't make it stop. So It takes two. Good. I love that. I love the way you just said that. But now I want to say, it takes two to make a thing go.
It just suddenly got quiet at the pool. Should note that we are not alone at the pool. So.
Adam, did you see my question? No. Sorry, we missed the question. If you put it in the comments again, we'll answer some questions now before we go.
Sure. What time is it? How long have we been on here?
18 minutes.
Okay. I know everybody's got a busy weekend. I don't want to keep them too long, right?
Yeah. And the pregnant girl needs to go to the bathroom.
No.
As always.
First thing, what's it say?
First time here. Hi, guys. Been watching since the beginning. You guys are so cute and inspirational. Oh, thank you so much. We're so happy that you're here. See me. We see you.
Hey.
How you feeling, Carla?
Yeah, we got a little bit of a delay. I think that's normal on here.
Yep.
So
I think it's a little bit more than usual, maybe because the Wi-Fi here at the pool isn't the best.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that baby girl, you and me both. I decided to add lifting routine to my cardio. Is it true that it takes forever to build any muscle after 40? No, at 40 you're in your prime.
After 40?
Actually,
how old do you think I am?
Bodybuilding is a sport. I'm sorry, it's your question. But
no, I was just going to say, I'm going to speak for me because I'm the only one here over 40. So
say it again, twice.
I'm the only one here over 40. So, listen, I can say this definitively, even though I was working out more in prison, like probably more volume. I'm not going to say more intensity, but more consistency. I'm still pretty consistent out here, but it's not quite the same. And I finally have access to weights, and I get to eat much better. And I can tell you definitively that, man, I notice a difference in strength. Like, that goes right up. Being able to build muscle. It doesn't matter what age you are, you know, at any age, and there's so much research out there to show that, to support it. You know, there's a lot of myths that were perpetuated from, I'm just going to say, people who were just not comfortable or confident in themselves and working out as they got older. And you see more and more of it now where, like, you have older people that are in the gym and they're spending the time to build muscle, core strength, stability, balance. And you know what that does? I mean, it increases not only the quality of your life, but the longevity. You're just going to be healthier, you're more fit, you're confident in yourself. Like, there's just so many cascading effects from that. And I just want to say, because my mom is on here, how proud I am of her for getting back in the gym and spending some time with a trainer. And that just makes me so happy to know that, you know, she's being proactive about her health. And because we want her to be around many, many more years with us, and not just be here, you know. We want her to be healthy and active and enjoy those years.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we expect for ourselves.
Yeah. And I'll add this really quick, and then 2 more questions, and then we'll probably go. But don't get in your head about building muscle or this or that. You're going to be better tomorrow than you are today. It's just starting.
Well put.
And no matter what, you're going to get stronger. It's consistency over overthinking it. And, you know, I need to do this many calories and this many grams of protein. And, you know, I got trapped in that for a really long time. And then I also went the other way. And I mean, you have to obviously fuel your body and feed your muscles, but try not to get caught in too many numbers and like breaking things down and all that stuff. Regardless, if you're working out and you're doing it consistently, eating and sleeping, you will build that muscle no matter what age you are.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we don't measure anything. We don't, like, we eat healthy things all the time, but like we're not crazy with any of it, and we work out consistently, and we're both healthy and strong.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't pick which question to ask you next because you got so many good ones. Okay, so here's one.
Okay.
This woman just got in touch with a lifer, and he doesn't ask her for anything. Like, he's not asking for money, anything like that. He's been in since 18, and he's, I don't remember what she said, 29, 39, but she wants to know, in your opinion, the best way for her to support him.
He's been what? He's been in since
18.
Oof.
And I can't remember how old she said he is now, but he's been in a minute.
What's the best way to support him? Wow. I mean, really just be there to acknowledge and encourage him. And I think one of the most basic things that get overlooked with people who are in prison, like, whatever you accomplish on the inside is minimized, right? Like, it's not seen, the significance of when you accomplish something out here. People are like, man, that was great. Like, you graduated from high school, you graduated from college, you got this, whatever it was that you did, right? On the inside, it's like, you're in prison. Like, you did that in prison. Like, somehow it doesn't count.
That's so sad.
It is sad. It's sad, but the unfortunate reality is how many people have kind of diminished, like, when we talk about the things that I accomplished, and it's viewed in a different light. It's like, well, you did that in prison. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Isn't it more difficult a lot of times?
I mean, in my opinion, but the point here being, the best way to support him is to acknowledge him, like, to celebrate those successes with him. Like, because it's really about finding the significance, meaning, and the encouragement. Like, the encouragement is everything. Listen, the other, you know, when you're able to give somebody a couple of dollars, that's great. Like, you're going to appreciate it there in the moment. But the things that last the longest are going to be those words of appreciation and validation. So make sure that you're acknowledging those successes, the positive things that he's learned.
First of all, I have to acknowledge Lisa, the moderator. Thank you so much. She's been on it, deleting these crazy comments.
Oh, yeah?
From the fart guy that goes around all the prison YouTube channels.
Wow.
So thank you, Lisa. You're the best. Okay, next question, and this might be...
Next question, last question?
2 more.
2 more, okay.
But these might have to be saved for separate videos because they're probably long and they're actually really good. So one of them is somebody who was I believe, guys, I'm skimming the comments as they're going quick, so if I'm getting details wrong, I apologize. But basically the gist is she was an employee at the prison for a while, maybe a nurse, I don't remember what she said.
Okay.
And she wants to know your opinion and if you've had any run-ins with medical on the inside. I feel like that's a whole can of worms for another video. Yeah, and then the other question that also very similar.
I was gonna say I'm jaded on the medical, like if. And let me just preface it by saying this. I'm currently going back into Nevada DOC, fortunate facilitating some things there. I aspire to get back into the Bureau of Prisons because I feel like there's so much work that is left to be done. I have great experience working within that system, know how to fix many of those issues. Medical healthcare is, oh, God. Yeah, it's something that desperately needs to be addressed and improved. Major issues, I have my own stories. I'm not going to get into those here or now. Some of them, that have affected my health long term, unfortunately, but we'll do a separate video about that. We'll talk about healthcare.
Yeah, and I think I have told, I don't want to say watered down versions, but versions appropriate for here, back on the channel about like your knee surgery, about other surgeries. So if you guys are interested, just look back on the channel. You'll see about the time that they took you out and you were like, it was so awful. I just couldn't wait to get back.
What's it called? Medical Misadventure?
Never heard that, but...
Yeah, Medical Misadventure. When they go in and just kind of play around and you get away with doing that with prisoners where there's no recourse.
Yeah.
And to spend 3+ hours on a simple scope of my knee that, has now never been the same. Like, that's not...
And they didn't even do what they were supposed to do, but that's a story for another time.
Story for another time. So, what's the last question?
In your opinion, what is the top reason for recidivism?
Ooh.
It's a good one, right? These are good today.
Yeah, top reason for recidivism. I'm gonna lump it together because we always talk about people, places, things, right? Here's the problem. Here's the main reason why people end up right back in prison, because most people that get out go right back to the same exact situation. It's the same situation where everyone in your circle, everyone who's right there with you, has a certain expectation of the person that you were, whatever you did that led you to prison. They expect you to likely fall back into that same routine, that same pattern. So if you're ready to do something different, like if you're stuck in the same geographic location around the same people, it just makes it so difficult. Like you're constantly fighting against that. What I believe is like everybody needs a fresh start. Everybody deserves a fresh start, right? But that's a whole lot easier said than done. There's so many restrictive policies on, like, my whole thing is we're quick to move people from prison to prison, right? Like, perfect example, East Coast. If you're in just from, like, say the Philadelphia area, they can send you all the way out by Pittsburgh. And if you're from Pittsburgh, they can send you all the way out by Philadelphia, which is going to make it incredibly hard for your family to come out there. You're going to be far from home, right? And they do it for security purposes. But if you want to try and relocate when you get out, and let's say I want to go to a different city where I don't know anybody, so I can get a fresh start, like people aren't going to, try and convince me or negatively influence me. Like, let me just go do my thing someplace else. And make sure I get around the right people, the right supports. The system is not set up to accommodate that. We are working on changing that. And There's things that we're doing here locally on a smaller scale to develop a model that is more conducive to that, to make sure, like, when you walk out the door, that your base level needs are met. Like, if you don't know where you're going to sleep at night, you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, like, it's very harder to think about anything bigger, right?
Yeah.
Like, those needs are going to motivate you in the moment, and if you don't have a means to meet those, you're going to revert back to what you know. And I'm not just talking about you. Like, a lot of times you walk out the door, right, and you have children, you have loved ones that have been waiting for you, that are counting on you. It's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of pressure, and again, if you don't have the means to fulfill that role, to fulfill those needs, it's going to be a struggle, right?
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think you said this without saying it, but we were just talking about this the other day. Like, when Adam had to call in every single day for drug testing, it was random,
Stressful.
right? But, like, it could be in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday, and we would have to drop everything and go down to get him tested, over a half an hour away. Now, what if he didn't have me, and he didn't have his license? Because that's another thing. They did not make that easy. There was, like, this big debacle around getting ID, but you can't get an ID because you just got out of prison. You can't get a job without an ID, and you can't get a bank account without a job. It was like all of these roadblocks. So I think that also, how I remember saying, like, we're in a position where we're so ahead of most other people because of, thank God, the connections that we have. But what about people that aren't and don't?
The resources and support that we had, and it was still super challenging. Like, we say it all the time, like, oh God, so grateful. But man, how are other people that are not as fortunate? Like, how are they faring in the system? And I see it all the time,
And I think it was like 3 weeks later. I mean, we're fighting Jersey, all these like charges from 1990 something. They're like slamming phones in his face. And this is after 6 hours on hold being hung up on. And it was ridiculous. And I remember, I think we were 3 weeks in, if that. And I was like, I don't blame people. I was very humbled at that point because I'm like, now I understand. I used to be like, oh, you get a second chance and you're going to ruin it. But now I understand why 3 weeks later, you can't even eat at that point. Or like somebody said before, you're not given the opportunity to put clothes on your own back and that kind of thing. And I think that is also why some people recidivate. But I went lost in a tangent with the whole like drug testing thing. If you didn't have me to take you there, right, or you don't have a way to get there, you're not near public transportation, you can't pay for public transportation, and you miss that, or you can't get out of work, or your employer won't let you, and you miss that, then you're going back.
Yep. Well, no, there's a lot of challenges. Listen, we can do better, much better. And the more that the general public, the more that people have the knowledge, the firsthand experience of dealing with the system, seeing how the inequities, the injustices, like, when people start to accept that and acknowledge, like, that's the reality. It's what it is. Like, people should be upset. You should expect more of the system, especially if you're somebody that's a tax-paying citizen. You've paid into this. You're paying a ton of money. But
it's all brushed under the rug because most people here are living it or have lived it. Mm-hmm. Most other people in society are like, that's what everybody does. We're secure. They're keeping us secure.
And that's why it's important for us to be vocal about it, to get the word out there, to educate people on a larger scale. So, and it can't just be, a feel-good, hey, criminal justice reform, and we're doing all these great things, and, people want to talk about it. Like, someone's got to hold them accountable. And that's where I think we started the conversation, talking about criminal justice reform and, some of the promises that not just the administration, I mean, so many different politicians have run on. This is a common issue now. Like, we need to hold our politicians accountable. Like, if you said that this is something that you were going to follow through on, make them follow through. And on that,
we gotta go. Yeah,
we gotta go.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I was just gonna say we could tell the story, but we'll do it on another video about what happened at the restaurant yesterday. Because that was cool. We'll tell another video.
Another day.
All right. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Happy
Love you
Memorial
guys.
Day weekend.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope the weather is better, that it's not raining, that it's beautiful and sunny like it is right here. And any of you that want to come to Vegas, I'll climb a mountain with you. Just hit us up.
Really
Let me
quick,
know.
I want to answer that question. Somebody asked if they thought that our challenges would have been different if we were legally married before you got out, because then they would jump to do it. No, I don't. It had nothing to do with anything, honestly. I think there might have been less challenges for us because we weren't legally married, because I know a lot of people who are legally married had problems with like stimulus checks and moves across the country and that kind of stuff, where it kind of inhibited their survival, if that makes sense. But we'll let you guys go. I just wanted to answer that question because it was there.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Love
We
you
love you
guys.
guys.